right, if my colleagues will join me, we have enough for a quorum, so I'd like to begin on time because everybody wants to get out of here a little early tonight.
Remember, we're going to go out of order.
Okay.
So the first legislation will be 11.3, but I will say it again.
Okay.
Between October and December,
It's okay.
it's okay.
It's in the summer where it becomes a little bit of
Exactly.
Oh, good.
You're welcome.
It's the other place.
Yeah, but Robert is here, they're gonna build like a big development or something next to it, and he's afraid that traffic, the
You're talking
parking.
about the extension of the urban development area?
Yeah.
Okay, I know.
So he's concerned that they're gonna.
All right, I'd like to call the Thursday, October 26, 2023, extension of our commission meeting of last Tuesday, a week ago Tuesday. The clerk, please call please take roll.
Commissioner Florimon?
Here.
Commissioner Jean? Commissioner Joseph advised that he had a conflict and may not be able to attend. Commissioner Smith?
I'm present.
Commissioner Smuggler?
Present.
Acting Mayor Jay Chernoff.
I'm here.
Sir, you have quorum, you're ready to proceed.
Thank you very much. Some of you have pistachios at your desk. That's compliments of farm share today. We're giving them out, and they had extras. They ran out of the chickens. They ran out of everything but milk and pistachios. So we had some extras left over, and I made sure each one of you got one. So enjoy it. Okay, invocation. Still, what I would like to do is everybody take a moment of silence for what's going on in Israel and hope that that comes to an end soon and no more lives are lost on either side. So please, and thank. Thank you. Would everybody please stand and join me with the pledge to the American flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, is there any requests for withdrawals, deferments, and additions to the agenda?
We're going to go out of order. Items 11.1, which is ordinance 2023-06, entitled Long-Term Resident Senior Homestead Exemption, and item 11.2, which is ordinance 2023-08, titled Stormwater Fee Increase. That will be heard at 6 p.m. or thereafter. So under legislation, we're going to start with item 11.3.
Okay, would somebody like to introduce 11.3?
I'll introduce.
Oh, I'm sorry. Public comments come first.
You-
You need to make a motion to approve. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, a motion to approve the changes.
As
As-
requested.
Yes, sir?
For the sake of time, are we able to? I see items 15.1 through 15.6. Are we able to table those items until the next meeting?
If there's a vote to, we can table anything.
Commissioner, if I would just ask 15.1, the business tax receipt fees, that should have been in 12, but staff just needs authorization to move forward on something, and some of the, our local businesses have been waiting for a resolution. That should be a 5-minute conversation.
The rest of them are not actionable items that we can move on to the next meeting.
And point two, and
These are
and we'd like to also just get, again, 15.1 and 15.2 would just need a consensus saying, yes, move forward with, and that they should both be maybe 5-minute conversations.
15.2, I looked into that. That's not a procedure that we have. So can we move 15.1 and then 15.2 to 15.6 we can pick up at another time?
Sure, that's the wish.
15.6, I don't have,
I'm sorry, these are all discussion items
I don't have a 15.
right here.
What is it?
15.6 is remote participation. 15.5 is bus shelter. 15.4 is solid waste insourcing.
Stopped at 15.1.
For you?
It stopped at, my booklet stopped at 15.5.
Okay, but we have to do this 15.2 by a certain time, manager?
There is, I believe we're closing, and finance may be here, we're trying to close the year and for fiscal year '23. And those funds for the donations will be coming out of fiscal year '23.
But those are individual commissioners' contingencies that they have the authority to make the decision on their donations. So
Not all of them. That's why, and it's, I believe just a consensus of a yes would
Yes,
be more than
I think it's
suffice.
supposed to be a consensus. I think I remember reading that one time.
well, I don't know, but I'm just, because for time reasons, and I may have to step out. So I'm just trying to make sure that we get done the business, the most important business. That's
I'm
all.
okay stopping, going up to 15.2 and
Let me explain 1 second, okay? If 2 of you step out, then our meeting is done, so
That's
we're not going to get to it anyway.
well, I'm just being
conferring on time.
respectful and trying to make sure that we agree on what we're going to talk about.
But I don't think we're going to get to it.
Okay, well, but can we?
Up to it, then I'll give you the opportunity
yeah,
to.
let's see what time, if we continue talking about this all night long, we're definitely not going to get to it.
All right, so is that a yes, or you just want to proceed?
Staff has indicated that we can move it until November,
Okay.
15.2.
So can we move until 15.1, and then the rest of the discussion items we can table until next meeting? As staff has indicated that it's okay to do so?
We can't hear you, Michael.
Hey,
I know, but I said we can't hear you. There's nothing wrong with saying that. Okay.
All right.
You don't have to
Any
get
discussion?
hysterical.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Passes.
Thank you. And I'd like
6 to
to,
0.
I'd like to make a motion. Was there a motion for the actual agenda in its entirety?
Not yet. No.
I'd like to make a motion to then approve the amended agenda
As
as amended.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Public comment. Madam Clerk?
The acting mayor and commissioners of the city of North Miami Beach have opened the meeting for public comment at this time. There is a 3-minute time limit for each speaker. Speaker, when you come to the podium, please state your name or the name of the organization which you are representing. The mayor and commissioner of the city of North Miami Beach recognizes the importance of civility. The city of North Miami Beach requests that all in attendance to exercise civility towards each other. Any speakers? One is making its, two? Thank you.
You look so handsome.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mubarak Hassan. Thank you for having me tonight. A gentleman by the name of Nelson Mandela once said, "For anybody who changes their principles depending on whom he is dealing with, that is not a man who can lead a nation." I'm not going to lead a nation. Excuse me. Excuse me, I can hear you guys from here, please. I'm not going to lead a nation, but in 2018, I stood before the North Miami Beach mayor and commissioners, and I spoke up against the U.S. government holding and detaining kids in cages. The U.S. government separated kids from their mothers and fathers and held them in cages for a long period of time. My principles for kids have not changed and will not change. One president from one of the largest countries in the world is presently kidnapping kids from a smaller country, and no one is saying anything. He looked for hospitals where kids are in that smaller country and carpet bomb them. No one is saying anything. Kids are kids, no matter where they come from. When I heard a terrorist group is killing kids, they lose my respect. Anyone who kills babies, children, and mothers for their cause, in my books, have no class, much less a cause. Babies, children, mothers, and seniors should not be used in any war efforts to drive home a point. That point becomes pointless, in my opinion. No one should go into mob mode and kill babies, children, mothers, and seniors for any cause. For the issues we have currently today, mostly are the children of two brothers. We should behave as such. The 10 Commandments God has given to Prophet Moses, peace be unto him, is for all mankind. Collectively, the last 6 commandments say, love thy neighbor as thyself. The commandments are here for a purpose, to guide mankind along a straight and narrow path. Any deviation from this, we are no better than those whom we condemn. We must love each other as we would ourselves. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, please. Thank you.
Daniela Adams, 2074 Northeast 167th Street. I'm the
Bring the microphone down to you, please,
Got it?
so it's closer to you so that,
Got it? Okay.
Yeah.
Daniela Adams, 2074 Northeast 167th Street. I'm the board president of Aqua Vista Townhomes. I was told to approach tonight using honey. I ran out of honey over 16 years dealing with the city, okay? So I'm going to get to the point. The association paid over $60,000 to the building department for notice of commencement for a roofing project, okay? The roofing project is a complete failure due to all the parties involved. But Frank Ortiz, who was an inspector, admitted on the phone in front of, with Anthony Lamar, Daniel Azuna on the phone, Frank admitted that he never got up on the roof to ever inspect the roof. He depended on a secondary inspection company that we hired for the drone photos and never got up on the roof and laughed and said, I never got up on the roof the entire time. So what's the point of paying over $50,000 to the building department? It's like me when I was in nursing saying, well, someone else drew up the insulin, so I think this is right, and I'm going to give it to you right now, okay? It was unacceptable. So now we have to reopen up the permitting. And Anthony said, you have to pay more fees. And you, sir, over there, David Scott, said, I demanded to have the fees waived. No, I don't like demand-splaining to me. I am requesting. I think it's courtesy after what you people did, charging our small association over $50,000 and never have an inspector get up on that roof, not even once, and Frank Ortiz laughing about it, that the fees to open up the permitting again should be waived. It's just simple courtesy by the fact that you didn't get up on the roof and didn't do your job at all. It's bad enough that everybody else involved didn't do that job, but at least as a last line of defense that your building department should have gotten up on the roof, okay? So we are requesting that the reopening of the permit extension and any modification that the fees are waived, whatever, I don't care if it's $200 or $2,000, based because Frank laughingly admitted on the phone, right in front of everybody on the phone, that he never got up on the roof, and nor would he have ever gotten up on the roof. That's not acceptable. Why pay $50,000 something, okay? So I relied on tiers of oversight. The roofer, his manager, our oversight company, company, and as a last resort, the building department, okay? And we had a forensic inspection, and he would have said, I would have stopped this roof work on the very first group of buildings, and the building department didn't even do a roof inspection, and we can't even get a warranty for the roof, and it has to be redone. Shame on the building department, shame on you.
Time.
Thank you, your time.
Oh, no, there's much more.
Oh, no, you're done.
There's much more. I want
Oh,
to
you're
talk.
done, we're already dealing with it.
Yeah.
Okay, we are dealing with it.
I want
It
to
was
talk
brought
about
to
the
my
police
attention
department. I want to
today.
talk about the police department
I'm gonna
and Ernesto Salazar, who is
Get off the mic,
negligent in what he's doing. You can turn off the thing. I will go above you into the state if necessary, because you people are running, I don't know, some kind of a clown operation here.
Excuse me, ma'am.
No, and I have the chutzpah to say it because what you're doing is terrible.
Our city is listening to you and taking care of your problem.
No, you're not. You're taking care of nothing. You just flap your ties and do nothing. Phyllis, I love you. And Eileen, oh,
All right,
I love you. You're my girl.
next.
The rest of you,
Any other speakers? We don't have any other speakers, sir.
Thank you. Public hearing is closed. Announcements. David?
We have nothing new to report.
Yeah, nothing, we don't need to play the video again.
No.
Okay,
Nothing new to report.
thank you, thank you.
The only, if I may just take a moment of personal privilege for the announcements. I just failed to mention last time, very proud of Deputy City Manager David Scott and his team. We were just informed by the state DOT that North Miami Beach has received a $600,000 grant to expand the freebie services within the city. We're hoping that those monies will be made available at the next state budget year, which is starts in July.
Great, thank you. That's wonderful. Thank you, David. Okay, City Commission reports.
Commissioner Florimon?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for participating in our meeting, and I hope that we have a expedient meeting this evening and a cordial one. That's it for me, and I guess we have the Monster Mash coming up, so enjoy that event and happy fall. I know it's starting to feel that way, and we only get a few days of it here in South Florida, so enjoy it. Thank you.
Commissioner Jean?
Good evening, everyone. Hopefully we have a very expedient meeting tonight. Thank you.
Commissioner Joseph?
Good evening, everyone. I'm hopeful for a speedy meeting, as well as bulk pickup is this tomorrow over in Sunray West, and I believe parts of Sunray West. So be on the lookout. Check your bulk trash pickup day. Thank you.
Commissioner Smith?
Thank you so much. I want to also pray for the people in Maine and the families. And I also would like very much to say that we all have to stick together and do everything we can to bring the world back to what it should be, peace and happiness for everyone. Monster Mash is one of the most significant, safe ways your kids can trick or treat. Please come on Saturday. It starts at 5 o'clock. Right here in front of City Hall. I also want to say real fast that there is a Thanksgiving turkey giveaway. I'm not sure if it comes before or after. If there's anybody that's in need and really their family needs a turkey, please contact the city. You can contact the clerk's office. You can contact the manager's office. You can contact the recreation department. But if you really feel your need, we want to make sure you and your family have a nice Thanksgiving. Thank you. Oh, and happy anniversary to my husband.
Commissioner Smuggler?
Well, at first I want to start by acknowledging that it's Italian American Month, and I know the library does something for Italian American Month, and hopefully sometime in the future we'll do something as well. I wanted to thank the library for the amazing job that they did with the breast cancer awareness on Saturday. I want to, once again, thanks Park and Rec always for all the hard work that they put into Farm Share. Thank you to PD, North Miami Beach Police Department, for taking care of our families, our visitors, our businesses, and our neighbors, residents. To the people of Maine, our prayers in North Miami Beach are with you as well. Peace to Israel. To the person who emailed me as to why the flag is there, it's there because my father fought in 1948 for the independence of Israel, and I will honor his memory and his bravery. I'm Yisrael Chai.
Acting Mayor Jay Chernoff.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to congratulate our manager, Mario Diaz, on his rise in the City Managers Association. Congratulations, he was sworn in. He's on the ladder. He will be president in a couple years, so we look forward to that. Thanks Dr. Stacy Roskin for having a great property owners meeting about a week ago. We thank you for having the residents out and trying to inform them with all the city people that showed up. So thank all the city people. For the farm share today, we want to thank everybody. We sold out. Well, sold out. We don't sell it, but we gave out all 500. So every family got a lot. I want to thank the police department, the city staff, the public works, the recreation. Everybody was there to help, and we do appreciate it. And that's what makes it go smoothly. And we did it in a day. We found out about it on Wednesday. We got it for Thursday. We put it out, and everybody was there. So people says that our social networking isn't working well. That was sure working that day, so thank you. Library, Adina, great job on breast cancer awareness. It was a beautiful thing. Plus our butterfly garden got new butterflies from Homestead, a person who grows butterflies. Released 2 more in our area, so we got new butterflies, so that was really nice. There's a Halloween store in the Eastern Shores Shopping Center that if you need anything for Halloween, go there. It's huge. It's the size of a department store. It has,
It's a pop-up store.
It's a pop-up, but it's there until Halloween, and you can get masks, you can get face makeup, everything is there, and very reasonable. And prayers for Maine. Maine, unfortunately, is another notch on our belt that says another shooting incident, and we need to do something about it. There's no question about it. Thank you all. Hope you have a happy Halloween.
Could you just mention the Fridays, the senior luncheon?
Friday at 12.
At 11, and they have to sign up.
At 11, you have to sign up for the senior lunch tomorrow. So anybody out there that wants to come, come. Thank you. That concludes my report. Yes?
May I have a word?
Yeah?
Okay, I'd just like to remind everyone, if you're not aware, that we do have a special election for the mayoral seat on December 5th. The deadline to register to vote is November 6th, and the deadline to request a vote by mail ballot is November 23rd. Even if you had one requested before, please, you would need to re-register again. Thank you.
And to that point, for the public out there, if you had an absentee ballot before, it's invalid. They changed them all since the last election, so it's no longer valid. If you want to vote at home, you must reapply. Thank you.
And you can do it online.
And also, if you're able to attend, we have the Miami-Dade Ethics Department as well as elections that will be here on Monday, October 30th. They will be hosting a clean campaign class. It's intended for candidates who are, has interest in running for office, but surely is open to the public. Thank you.
Thank you.
Starts at 6:30.
Where?
In the McDonald's, at the McDonald's Center.
Thank you. All right, consent agenda. Can I have somebody approve it? We don't have a consent agenda. 911? The meetings?
Oh, no, you pulled it.
Yeah, that was pulled.
That was pulled.
You pulled the minutes?
No, he pulled it last meeting.
That was supposed to be pulled for until next week, our next.
Until November?
Yes.
Wait. When did, that was your discussion at the beginning of the meeting?
Last meeting. This is a continuation of the meeting, of last meeting.
Quasi judicial, there's none. Legislation, 11.1, ordinance number.
No,
It's not 6.
that's time certain, so we'll start with 11.3,
Sorry.
which is ordinance 2023.
11.3, ordinance number 2023-09. First reading by amendment regarding restoration of certain pension benefits. Babette Friedman, our HR director. Sorry, my microphone's not on.
You need a motion to,
Need a motion to,
Somebody introduce, please. Second. Is there a second? Anybody?
Second.
Oh, didn't hear you.
Oh, no, I didn't know. I sorry. I thought somebody.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, this is ordinance number 2023-09 in first reading, entitled "An Ordinance of the Mayor and City Commission of the City of North Miami Beach, Florida, amending the retirement plan and trust for the general management employees of the City of North Miami Beach, Florida, adoption agreement administered by the Florida League of Cities, restoring pension benefits for a certain general management employee who was a member of the plan on January 31st, 2013, and has remained continuously employed as a management employee, restoring the 3% multiplier, restoring the automatic cost of living adjustments, restoring the normal retirement date, providing for codification, providing for conflicts, providing for scrivener's errors, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Ms. Friedman, do you have anything to add to that?
I just want to kind of summarize the changes. The proposed change to the management pension plan restores the 3% multiplier, as the attorney said, and the cost of living increase to 2.25. As you all remember, in 2013, during the recession, there was a reduction in benefit to the management pension and the management police and general pension plan. However, in 2022, they restored the general and police pension plan, but they did not do it to the management. So this just makes this one whole for the one employee that it affects.
Okay, any questions from commission?
I have a question.
Phyllis?
Thank you. So how many people were in that plan that have retired?
I don't have that number, but I can provide it to you.
Because that's why I can't support this, because this is retroactive. And there are other people that may have been in that plan that are no longer working here. But if you give it to one, I mean, I certainly, this is for Greg Williams, who's one of my favorite people in North Miami Beach. And it's the hardest decision I had to make. But I just can't see going retroactive. Going forward, absolutely should change and he should get what he gets. But going retroactive, they say there's only one left. But there are people in that period that retired that didn't get it. And now they're not going to get it. So it just, I just don't think we should go retroactive and pay somebody what, there was a reason at that time that it was reduced. And there was a reason it was voted on. So to go forward now, I think it should all be equal 100%, but I don't think we should go retroactive to give somebody that other people could benefit, but they just don't, they retired, they don't work here anymore. So I think it opens up liability and all kinds of things, and I do adore him, and it's the hardest decision, but I can't support this.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Mr. Florimon?
Thank you. So to piggyback off of Commissioner Smith, the question I have is the group or the category that was affected by this, when the policy was decided on, they benefited from that policy, that category of people, based on your explanation? Did all the people in that category benefit as of the time of the policy, except one employee?
Well, he's the only one that's still actively an employee with the city. Everyone else has retired. There are 4 additional people who are in the plan, but they started in the plan in 2013. So based off of the actuary, they informed me this change will only affect 1 individual.
The ones who have retired, the ones who are current,
Yeah, that is
that
my
whole
understanding.
class, it would only affect 1 person.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a number attached to it for the retroactive portion?
The projected liability for this change is $167,000, but that's over a 6-year period. But the estimated amount for 2023 fiscal year is $29,329.
So the retroactive period is 29,000.
Yes, correct.
So I just want to be very clear. The retroactive portion of this is 29,000. Okay.
Yes.
I'm done.
Phyllis?
I just want, so is this 100, what was the 100 and, what was that reference to?
That's the projected liability of this change over the life of it.
So going forward, I want to vote for it, but I don't want to, can we divide this so that it could be done properly? Instead of going retroactive for the 29,000, and you're also going to go forward for additional funds based on what you just said, I definitely want to vote going forward, but I do not want to go retroactive. So how do I vote? How can we do that?
You have to bring it
If I
up
may,
2 different ways.
Commission, the singular purpose of this ordinance is to put this person back in retroactively. That's the purpose. There is a retroactive, quantified, as I understand from staff, based upon conversations with the actuary, a retroactive financial impact of $29,000 and change. Going forward, the total number is
$167,832.
minus the 29. That's what the liability of the city would be going forward. But the purpose of this ordinance is to restore retroactively the benefits so that individual qualifies for it. If they don't qualify for it, they can't. Let me say it a different way. It can't be an ordinance that qualifies them going forward. They've got to be made whole going back.
I think we could do it a different way. I'm going to check into it or table it until I can.
What I would suggest then is, with the approval of staff, is to bring the city attorney, not the city attorney, we have a attorney who drafted this ordinance, who's our pension attorney, to explain the wheres and whys, because that is the best person qualified, in my opinion, to explain to you what it is that we're trying to accomplish here.
I understood what you said, 100%. What I don't agree on is the fact that what the purpose is at the end, what we're trying to do, what's the object here, what is the goal, can be reached, that he gets back into the program and goes forward without paying for something that was voted on for a reason, retroactive. And I would like to make well, you have a motion on the table, but I'd like to make a motion to table it. So we
There is a
can,
motion on the floor.
Well, we're still in discussion, right?
Yeah, we're still in discussion.
Okay, so.
Mr. Florimano, I'm sorry, did anybody else want to chime in?
No, I mean, I would agree to table it.
Do we hurt anybody by tabling it?
No.
All right.
I mean, look, I'm comfortable with it. I understand, like, you can't qualify somebody for something retroactively and then hold what they qualify for.
Correct.
Which is the funds.
You are essentially vesting them in that pension plan as of the retroactive date.
Right.
And the actuarial liability is then established, and it can't be, to the Commissioner Smith's question or concern, you can't retroactively say we're going to put you back as if, on this date, but not vest you for that time period and only going forward.
why are we putting them back? Why don't we start them on that date.
Because the plan doesn't exist any longer.
Right.
It's been eliminated.
Then we put them in the other plan.
I don't believe there's a replacement plan. The city has converted over to, for all general employees, I think a 401K, not 401K, the government equivalent.
401A.
Okay, make a motion.
Well, you have a motion.
No, we have an introduction. We don't have a
Oh,
motion.
I make a motion to table it.
I'll second it.
Second? All those in
Are
favor?
we going to have discussion on that motion to table? Because I want to make a point, if you don't mind, with all due respect to my fellow commissioners. I think we have all the information that we need. And, you know, the attorneys opined, HR is opined, management is opined. The 29,000 is what we're talking about. But you don't put him back into a plan without giving him the money. You can't do that. Because you're entitling him to something by putting him back into the plan, but the actual funding behind it, the funding mechanism, you can't choose to eliminate that. And so if we table it, we're just tabling it for, I mean, obviously I respect the fact that people may want more information, but I mean, all of it is here, and we've been kind of dealing with this for the past, 4 or 5 months now?
No, we didn't get to it.
Commissioner Flourmont, your statement is correct. And whether you table it, and that's the prerogative of the majority of the commission, the analysis doesn't change. And the explanation doesn't change.
Anybody else want a discussion?
I just want to add, if I can, through the chair, I want to explore what I think could be other options, even though I understand and I trust my professionals. There was a reason it was done then, and there was a reason, and to go retroactive to pay somebody almost $30,000, I want to make 100% sure there's not an alternative. That's my thought.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Wait, on the
table.
Table.
Commissioner Florimon? No. Commissioner Jean?
No.
Commissioner Joseph?
No.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Smuggler?
Yes.
Acting Mayor Chernoff?
No, it passes. I mean, it fails. The
motion
to table fails.
And so
Okay, so back to now somebody make the approval of
Motion to approve?
Second.
second. You need a roll call or all in favor?
yes, roll call.
Roll call. Oh, is there any discussion? Is there any more discussion?
Mr. Mayor, although not legally required on first reading to take public comment, historically, this commission has taken public comment at both first and second reading on all ordinances, at least as long as I've been here and that I'm aware of. So consistent with that custom, it would be appropriate, and again, unless
Open up public comment for anybody that wants to discuss this ordinance. Anybody else?
Good evening, everyone. Mubarak Azan. Last year, October, we had some sort of thing going on like this here where, you restored what was taken from 2013. And only this budget, we're to hear that there's a short fund of the police pensions by $8 million. I'm not going to say deficit, Commissioner Flourmont. It's a short fund. Be shortfall. And normally, in October, I remembered somebody standing downstairs in the theater saying it is only going to cost $200,000. $200 and something thousand dollars. Only going to cost $200 and something thousand dollars. Only come to realize that we're $8 million shortfall in the police pension budget. Is it performing with investments? What are we doing? Because that could be $8 million going to CIP that would be benefiting the residents, that now have to make up that shortfall. And if you promise people something, you're supposed to live up to your promises. And all that I'm seeing here, a lot of promises, but we're not living up to it because our CIP's being shortfall. We heard Washington Park, over $20 million being voted for Washington Park. Where did that money go to? According to Alan Cohen, he said $16 million gone. Gone where? Was it stolen? Was it taken to prop up salaries and pensions that you'd promise? Is it like a joke that you promise people things that you're not going to deliver, knowing that you're going to take that money and sneak it over somewhere else? I remember the P22 meter in 2017. The P22 meter, Miami-Dade says, no, you don't owe us $1.5 million for the water, whatever they do with that sewer thing. You owe us $5.1 million. And I heard that at $5.1 million, even though most of us in the city of North Miami Beach does not use sewer, we took it from our CIP and paid that. Did we get back that funds? What I'm trying to show here is that you sit here, you listen to somebody for 2 minutes, and then you keep burying this city into the ground. Thank you very much. You keep burying this city with a lot of debts. Could you afford it? Commissioner Smith, you're correct. Can we afford it? Not that the person did not have a pension all the while and he was, kicking bricks on the road. He was having a pension.
Time.
$8 million, just remember that. Where are we going to get that money from? Thank you very much for having me.
Anybody else would like to say anything from the public? Public hearing is closed. Commission, any other remarks? Call the question, please.
Commissioner Jean? Yes. Commissioner Joseph? Yes. Commissioner Smith?
No on first reading.
Commissioner Smuggler?
Yes.
Commissioner Florimon?
Yes.
Acting Mayor Chernoff?
Yes, passes 5-1.
Thank you.
Resolution number R 2023-90, purchase of information technology products and services. Ricardo Castillo, head of IT, will address this.
Motion to introduce.
So, will somebody introduce, please?
Motion to introduce?
Second.
Motion and seconded, it's introduced.
Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, this is resolution number R 2023-90, entitled "A Resolution of the Mayor and City Commission of the City of North Miami Beach, Florida, authorizing the utilization of Florida Department of Management Services National Cooperative Purchasing Alliance and GSA contracts and other cooperatives for the purchase of the city's information technology hardware, software, and maintenance and service, authorizing the city manager designee to do all things necessary to effectuate this resolution and subject to the budget appropriation availability of funds, providing for conflicts, providing for scrivener's errors, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Mr. Castillo.
Good evening. Oh, there you go. Thank you. The resolution you have in front of you is basically seeking your approval to utilize Florida Department of Managed Services, National Cooperative Purchasing Alliance, as well as other GSA contracts for the procurement of information technology, hardware, software, and maintenance services. This is in an amount not to exceed $3,950,000 for the fiscal year. That is a not to exceed. That doesn't necessarily mean that we will spend that full amount, but that provides us the authority to spend the monies that are already budgeted in the IT budget as well as CIP for the various technology projects that will happen during this fiscal year.
Is there a motion to approve? Second?
Second.
Second, any discussion?
Thank you so much. So just to be clear, the fiscal year 2024 has allocated up to $3.9 million for CIP within IT, is that what I'm hearing?
Now, for CIP, this is also for other operating expenses. So the IT budget for this fiscal is about 5.3 million, just to give you guys an idea. And out of there, we have just about 2.2 million in recurring software costs that we purchase every year. So instead of bringing each individual item that exceeds the 50,000 threshold, we're bringing to you the authorization to piggyback all the different contracts that we would normally utilize throughout the course of the year.
I think that is, so my question there would be, I know we use some similar practices, I think, with contractors and things of that sort, where we have a list of contractors that are already approved, et cetera. But even with those piggybacks, don't they still come before the commission?
Anything over $50,000.
But still come before the commission, right?
Well, in this case, no, because you're actually authorizing the expenditure for the amounts stated on the Exhibit A on your agenda item. And this is not just for one vendor. This is
It's using the state contracts and the U.S. General Service Administration, all of their contracts put together. So the resolution is authorizing for the purchase of all of those that are listed in the backup.
So this is for 16 vendors total. And last year, we did a similar resolution. It was Resolution 2022-134. At that time, last fiscal, you guys had approved 2.5 million, but due to the centralization of all IT expenditures, obviously the IT budget increased. And then that's why we're here before you now seeking authorization to utilize a higher amount.
Commissioner Flourmont, you done?
Yeah, I'm just reviewing this. I didn't, thank you, Commissioner Smith. I didn't even see this, so I'm just reviewing this.
Commissioner Smith?
Thank you. It only went up 1.725 for 2024 when I did the calculations, and many of them go right into 2040 or
2027.
2027, and they go many years down the path, and probably fixed it at a certain rate. So I question, and that is true. That's how long it is. They were 10 years, they were 5 years, so.
Well, the terms are determined by the state or the particular agency that we're piggybacking. So essentially, our expiration date will be whatever that agency's expiration date is, because we're piggybacking that particular contract.
And that's why it's 2038, 2034, and again, with inflation the way it is, it went up 1.725 in 2024.
If I may, by way, Commissioner Flourmont and the rest of the commission, by way of explanation a little bit, there's, in the budget that just was approved, if you add up all of the budget, the funds that have been already appropriated for IT expenditures, total $3,910,000, as set forth on page 2 of the resolution that's before you. And so what this resolution does, similar to in past years, that money's been appropriated, and now this is the authorizing staff to spend up to that, but not to exceed, through a series of piggyback contracts for the obtaining of these hardware, software, and management services that the city uses throughout the year. And to the point that that you asked, Commissioner Flourmont, to some degree, it is to not have to bring back 70 resolutions over the course of a year authorizing these various expenditures to the extent they may be over $50,000, whatever that number may be.
The reason I bring it up is because there was a concern from the dais in the past year about bid waivers, piggyback contracts, and the request for more transparency on those things, because once it leaves here, with all due respect to staff, obviously, but once it leaves here, upwards of $4 million, it just, that's it. We don't see it again. So that's the reason I brought it up.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
I think there was some response.
Yes, you want to? Finance Director? Yeah.
Give some more
Procurement, whatever.
insight on what you said about the piggyback contracts. So this resolution is posed this way because IT, of course, is vital to our daily operations and other projects. All of these vendors, all of these contracts have been competitively bid through the state, other cooperatives. So they've gone through the competitive process, transparency there, as well as we have volume fixed pricing. Some of these items, of course, they're sole sourced because of the technology components, of course. There are very few that have an escalation of the standard CPI, 2%, maybe 3%, very few of those. But the benefit of these contracts is that we have the volume pricing that we've gone, that the competition has yielded from either the state municipalities or local cooperatives. So we have the best pricing there, as if we were to go out solely, time, money, effort to go out to the market to get this pricing that we wouldn't get just from our needs. So this is kind of like a bulk pricing deal.
I mean, there's few enough, I think, on this that the 50,000 threshold should still be met. It's what, it's about a dozen of these? So the 50,000 threshold as far as presenting it before the commission, while you can still do the piggyback. You see what I'm saying? You can still do the piggyback instead of, like you said, sole sourcing, but bringing it back before the commission is where my concern was, and there's only about a dozen of them, so.
So that would mean 16 individual resolutions for each of the needs is what you're proposing?
What I'm proposing is that it comes back before the commission after you've done your due diligence for approval. I don't know, the majority is going to decide this, but from what I've heard prior, I personally don't just want to see them, once we vote tonight, we never hear about these projects again. We never know really what's going on with them. I think if it's over 50,000, they should come before the commission to some degree, because all of them are not going to get approved at the same time.
So in the same fashion, where we would present any other piggyback or any other purchase over 50,000, we would have that resulting contract and possibly pricing or a quote. Now, because these needs are long-term and ongoing, this is kind of like the approval authority to spend up to that amount, but we necessarily don't even spend this amount per year. Now, this is taking into consideration different projects and things that we need. In previous years, IT wasn't the umbrella for the whole city. So we have PD, we have all of the departments, water. So this is kind of encompassing the whole city, plus projects in our daily operations. Now, we can definitely present each of these items in their backup, but this is the most efficient way to get that done with the bulk pricing and the volume pricing that we're receiving.
Mr. Cherney, correct me if I'm wrong, this resolution does authorize for us to continue the services already, so it's not to come back to the commission. The commission's already authorizing staff to be able to enter into the agreement and continue to provide the services for the technologies that we have. That includes Tyler, which is not only our finance software, but also our building software. It runs most of the city operations. Our mail software, when we have to send out mailings, it goes into our various telecommunications, as well as other aspects that we need on a day-to-day basis. So we
For my edification, can you roll through the 16 of them and tell us what each of them represent?
Sure. So
Don't you have them in front of you?
No, they're just names and numbers. They're not telling us what.
So AT&T is for various phone services as well as internet. Comcast, we also have internet through them at several of our parks facilities. IT Partners is the company that we use for cloud backup. Granicus is our agenda software, so that's where Novus Agenda is there, as well as broadcasting and so on. CDWG, that's for, they are resellers of hardware and software. Pitney Bowes is for our mail machine that the city processes its own mail here. So we've had that since the last 2 years. SHI is another large reseller of hardware and software. Tyler Technologies, like the manager mentioned, is our ERP system, which is used for finance, as well as we have Tyler ExecuTime, which is for the time and attendance. Verizon Wireless, that's for all the MiFi devices that the police, as well as other departments, use to connect when they're out on the field, and also duty phones and other city-issue phones. B&H Photo, they're a large reseller of equipment, including audiovisual equipment. BTech.io, they're a reseller of Dell products. So both BTech and Dell are part of that same contract that we're piggybacking. Quality Wiring, this is for running wire throughout our city. So like if there's someone that comes in new and we have to run data or phone, we utilize that contract. MCCI is our is for an electronic document management system that we have called Laserfish, as well as just FOIA. And I believe the clerk uses MCCI also for the codification of the ordinances. AIP US, this is a Cisco reseller, as well as Baytech. So you will notice that the contract on those two is essentially the same contract. And Carasoft is another reseller of software, which we use last year for electronic plan review that we're about to go live next year.
And so all of these, we're already conducting business with all of these?
We already have all of this already. So essentially, this is so that we don't have to come back for every maintenance item or every software renewal that we have to you guys, with the exception of CDW and SHI, which we could buy new things with those authorizations. But the other ones are pretty much things that we already have established.
What is the amount for that again? Because it's not coming up on my screen for that new 600,000?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you plan on doing with that one?
We have, in our budget, we have several ARPA CIPs. I believe we got allocation for $185,000 for computer hardware and software, and within our budget, we have CIPs for the purchase of computers for PD, for Public Works, for parks, and citywide. So we are intending to do a citywide lease to replace all the equipment in the city and have everyone mobile. I think I mentioned during our budget workshop that was the plan, to make sure that everybody has the capability to go mobile if they need to. So we are intending on doing a lease for equipment and replace everyone at once. And then another one that's one of our CIPs is also for the replacement of all of our network equipment. That's going to be in the neighborhood of like $500,000 as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey.
Thank you. Can you tell me a little bit more about VTech, VTO? But
Sure. Which one, Baytech?
yes.
So they are a reseller of Cisco products, and we've utilized them for phone consulting to address some of the issues that we've been having with the phone system here.
So if one of these companies, let's say we decide not to use them anymore, then it comes back to us, or just gets like transferred from one company to the
Well,
other?
we're piggybacking the NASPO contract, so I believe any other vendor on that contract we then can utilize, Sharice? Or?
Yes, so, really quick, these are contract terms. So procurement manages, just because it comes before you, it's not gone. These are individual contracts within our system, and we manage those. So if, for whatever reason, the cooperative or the governing agency does not renew, then we don't use it. And we have to find that source. So we talk to Ricardo, any other director, hey, this contract is no longer good. Either you have to find that source somewhere else, and we remove that and the allocation. Now, many of these companies are smaller companies like VTech and AIP and VTechio, because they're authorized resellers of the Dells and the Ciscos. And so when they go out to get these contracts, they don't sell directly to us little guys, these municipalities. They have 3, 4, 5 companies in our area most times that will sell to us directly. Sometimes just 1 or 2, depending upon our region. So that's why you get those, and they're multiple. That's why you said that there are two on here. We have that option with either two. Sometimes the goods and services are split up by different companies, so we can only get certain things from one company, but all fixed pricing based on them going out to the market.
Right. Okay. So if one of these company, I just want to make sure I understand correctly. So if one of these companies goes out of business and we want to use another company, or you want to use another company, we're not going to
We would have to come back.
it will come back. Okay.
And it won't come back, of course, in this fashion, because it may be one or two. It'll come back that we need, for this need, it came in, and so the resolution will read that it was approved previously under here. This need is now needed. We're using it from this governing contract, or we had to go out to the market ourselves.
Okay. And then, did you mention something about computer rescue?
Computer Rescue 911 is no more. They're IT
Right.
partners.
Okay.
So they were a subsidiary of them, kind of that regional reseller. But they're no more, and it's IT partners. And we discovered that and made that link last year when when we had to come to commission for PD for that cloud.
Okay. Thank you.
Last word.
I just want to please have you send Voitex, our consultants for the phone system, to do a better job, and if they can't get our phones to work, could you find another company? Thank you. I had problems again today.
Clerk, please call the roll.
It's a resolution.
Again, I'd like to remind the city commission that, again, as long as I've been your city attorney historically, even with resolutions which are not required to take public comment, you historically have allowed public comment on all your agenda items that are listed as legislative.
Thank you, appreciate it. Clerk, please call the roll.
Acting Mayor, it's a resolution, so a voice vote will be fine.
I'd
It's
like
up
to
to you.
call the roll, just to make sure.
Okay. Commissioner Joseph,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Smuggler,
Yes.
Commissioner Florimon,
Yes.
Commissioner Jean,
No.
Acting Mayor Chernoff.
Yes.
It passes.
Carries. Somebody move to introduce 11.1 ordinance number 2023-06, second and final reading, long-term resident senior homestead exemption.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Manager. I'm John, I'm sorry. Mr. Attorney.
This is ordinance number 2023-06 on second reading, entitled an ordinance of the Mayor and City Commission of the City of North Miami Beach, Florida, establishing an additional homestead exemption for certain low-income qualifying senior citizens who are long-term residents of the city pursuant to Article 7, Section 6D, Florida Constitution, and Section 196.075, Florida statutes, to be applied to real estate taxes levied by the city in accordance with state law, and further providing that a copy of this ordinance be filed with the Miami-Dade County Property Appraiser, providing for the annual submission of a sworn statement to the property appraiser, allowing supporting documentation, providing for waiver of exemption, providing for commencement of exemption, providing for repeal, conflict, severability, codification, and an effective date.
Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an item that was initially brought to the attention of the city through resident. It passed on first reading. It adds an additional senior homestead exemption. At the request of the commission, we did contact Miami-Dade County to see how many homes within North Miami Beach would be impacted or could possibly be impacted by this ordinance. After their analysis, they said approximately 100 homes may qualify for the program. Essentially, what this would do, if a resident has been a permanent resident of the property for at least 25 years, and the market value by Miami-Dade County property appraisers has it less than $250,000, and they make less than a certain threshold, which changes on a yearly basis depending on CPI, then the property would qualify for this additional homestead exemption.
What is the income threshold right now?
I think it was 43,000
Per household.
per household, correct, sir.
Okay. My dais, anybody?
Am I understanding the reason behind the 6 p.m.?
It's because when it was first approved, the first reading, it was after 6. It's like it's a time span, right? Basically, it has to match how many hours it was published or something.
Clerk.
The meeting was originally for 6 p.m.
They move it up to
The time, and the advertisement went out, and the time changed to 5 p.m.
For this?
Yes.
For certain items, yeah.
yeah.
Those ordinances, the notices were that it would the public hearings would take place at 6 p.m. or thereafter.
We're required to advertise when
Because of
it
the
comes to
publication.
Right. Thank you so much. Commissioner Smith.
I just want to thank the manager for doing that extra research. I don't think it'll affect that many of our residents. Remember, they're 25 years, so they have the 3% on their house anyway, that their taxes weren't that high, and I'm glad that we're bringing it forth.
Anybody else?
Move to approve.
Mr. Manager, one other question. Their procedure to get it, they have to qualify. And then they have to qualify each year, or they have to?
From my understanding, it's similar to your original homestead exemption. You do have to apply, and once you're granted that homestead exemption, then it stays with the property.
No, because the income,
You do have to
apply every year
Every
You
year.
do have to reapply because there's a verification
of income.
that you meet the years in residence
You're
as well as
absolutely
the income.
Okay, and the income qualification is done by who, the county?
By the property appraiser.
And that's the total income in the household,
Everybody that lives there. So
not just husband and wife, whoever lives in the household.
This ordinance enables the residents who would qualify to be able to take advantage of it, but the processing of it is at the county property appraiser's level. We just adopt the ordinance and allow people to take advantage of it.
Just want to put on the record that they would have to apply by March 1st of every year.
Thank you.
move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, it's
Roll call.
And it's
Oh, and citizen, is there any citizens that would like to address this? Going once, going twice? Closed. Okay, call the question.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Smuckler?
Yes.
Commissioner Florimon?
Yes.
Commissioner Jean?
Yes.
Commissioner Joseph?
Yes.
Acting Mayor Chernoff?
Yes.
Passes 6-0.
Good luck, residents. 11.2, ordinance number 2023-08, second and final reading, stormwater fee increase. Samuel Zamakoa, Coma. We'll get it.
Thank you.
introduce. Mr. Mayor. Motion to introduce.
Move to introduce?
Second.
This is ordinance number 2023-08 on second reading, entitled an ordinance of the mayor and city commission of the city of North Miami Beach, Florida, amending chapter 20 stormwater, section 20-2.2, monthly utility rate of the code of ordinances of the city of North Miami Beach, Florida, by increasing the monthly rate for equivalent runoff unit ERU, providing for codification, providing for conflicts, providing for scrivener's errors, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Mayor and Commission, if I may, just do a quick summary as it's second reading. Essentially, what we're looking at here is an increase in the stormwater monthly rate of approximately 46 cents per ERU. What this will allow us to do is be able to expand our beautification division as they will be maintaining the swale areas and maintaining the storm system. we'll be able to increase the amount of employees that we have to be able to better maintain that, and which also helps assist with the flooding of certain areas as we better maintain it and clean the system. That's a Cliff Notes version of it.
So in the Cliff Note version, then who is taking care of it now won't be?
So we currently have four employees, and we have outsourced. What we're doing is we're increasing to have, I think it's 3 or 4 different crews of, 3 crews of 4?
Correct.
3 crews of 4 that will be citywide, and the contractor their usage will be appropriately reduced.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, are there questions?
Can you elaborate, through the mayor, can you elaborate on what you just said about the contractor, what contractor we're referencing?
Currently, I think there's a couple, but I think the main one, Sam, is Country Bill.
Correct.
Is Country Bill. They will still have some work to be doing, but as our crews continue to increase their workload on the medians and the swales, then we would be relying less on that vendor to come in and do the same work.
Have you done the opportunity costs, like to see what the numbers are once we fully take over versus what they are at this point?
We did that analysis during the budget season, and we allocated appropriately the reduction within the overall use of the contractor.
I guess what I'm saying is, are we saving money by taking it on?
There you go.
That's what I want to know, what that number is.
We could come back with the exact figures, Commissioner. But right now we're spending costing us around $600,000 on our contractor. But with your approval for the second reading of the ordinance, now we're going to be doing a lot of the work ourselves, relying on the contractor to perform the FDOT public right-of-way areas, which are State Road 826, US 1, West Dixie Highway, and several others. Total about 6 FDOT state right-of-ways.
I know that we had this model, I believe, before, probably dating back a dozen years or so, where we actually had our own team members that were doing swales and lawns, and we ended up actually getting rid of that department, if I'm not mistaken. Or and I'm wondering what's changed 10 years later or a dozen years later.
As people retire, we have not hired staff, and now we've heard the commission loud and clear. We want to perform the work ourselves, and this is one method of us achieving that goal.
Okay, as people retire?
As people retire, we do not hire them, and we depend on consultants or contractors for this case.
But I guess what I'm saying is we got rid of people, right? So we had this model before. I don't know if any of you guys remember that.
Eliminated it.
It's been.
No, what I'm saying is we had city employees that were doing the work, right?
Correct.
We got rid of those city employees, and we hired firms to do the work at that point. So what I'm saying is, if we're going back to that model that we had before, are we achieving a cost savings overall for the city by doing it this way?
We are, Commissioner, and as the manager mentioned, it was during the budget process. We don't have that number in front of us, but we did, working with Alan, we did a full business case on each one of these scenarios. So we are saving money by bringing that back in-house, and we're able to cut the Country Bill contract to limit it to just the areas that Sam mentioned.
Okay, thank you.
I think it's a great idea. Commissioner Smuggler.
Thank you. Yes, I think it's way back when, we farmed out the water plant, the garbage, and this is just one more thing to bring back in-house. So I'm excited about that. And I did send some people an email like a month ago that Country Bill said that they would do some landscaping for free that I felt that they were overcharging. Did you all get that email from me? So it hasn't been done. So if they can do it, because the grass is like
We'll follow up.
up to there.
Yeah, I must add, Commissioner Flormont, that we also went back to this model because it was more responsive, going through the contractor and dealing with a lot of the challenges out there. We had to work through country building a contractor. This way you have your in-house staff,
Right.
Sam, Bernard, and others who are with more staff and more support, going back to that model that you mentioned where we divide the city up east, west, central, where they have specific roles and responsibilities, and they're responsible for the tree trimming, the swale maintenance, sprinkler systems within that. So adds additional level of accountability and responsibility that we didn't have before. And then we'll add also that it also moves it, again, as the manager said, it ties it to stormwater, which keeps a lot of this material out of the storm drains in the first place. We were doing it, but it was being paid out of general fund, and that might have been why you saw that reduction, because it was probably a budget, I'm assuming, a budget decision at the time. A lot of that staff was reassigned to other enterprise departments, but left beautification with just one crew of about 4 to 6 people for the entire city. So now we're bringing that back in. We have the stormwater fee that supports it, and we're providing that additional responsiveness.
Thank you.
Commissioner Jean.
How many staffers were you guys on board based on the need now?
Yes, so right now we have, for fiscal year '23, we had 6 full-time employees. Now in fiscal year '24, with your approval of second reading of the commission of the ordinance, we're aiming to be at 11 full-time employees, from 6 to 11.
11.
From 6 to 11, correct.
I mean, the only question there is, when you onboard new staff, you still have to pay pension, everything that comes with a new employee. Are you also going to increase the rate of those currently working, or is it just to onboard new individuals?
We definitely did look at, Commissioner, and I understand your question, and we made sure that those staff that we have on board now are appropriately reviewed within that organization. So there's certain employees that have taken on additional responsibility, and they will be compensated accordingly according to the new responsibility that they're taking on.
And
Does that answer your question?
And it also brings those employees up with regards to the classification and the compensation study that was done. So those employees are also moving up as well. And then for those who are within the various unions and all, they also see those going up per their contracts on a yearly basis as well.
Okay, well, what I think I wanted to say is I think in-house is always great, but, the true savings we'll never know. Because in essence, when you're onboarding a new 5 individuals, the scaling of the raises and all that, that's going to be a long-term analysis of really the saving costs. I don't think we're necessarily prepared to really answer tonight, but thank you for the information.
Thank you. Commissioner Smith?
Thank you. I just want to say that this is one of my biggest pet peeves is how our city looks. And that you ride through other cities and they're clean and they're well manicured and they're well taken care of. And I think if this is what we need to have our city come up to where it should be, I can't afford to say no. Thank you very much.
One more question.
John?
The 46 cents increase, how much is that for all of the residents in essence? What would that annually be?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. The fiscal year, the budget capacity or ERU rate increase is approximately $126,958. The difference in fiscal year '23 to fiscal year '24 is approximately $640,966.
One more time, please.
$640,966 is the fiscal year '23 to fiscal year '24 difference. 640,000. Almost 641,000.
What's the salary for these individuals? That's for the 11? Or is that for the 5?
That's the approximate difference from without approving the ordinance to approving the ordinance. That's approximately how much dollar-wise we're estimating.
And to clarify, with regards to overall costs for a single family, it's an increase of approximately, I think it's like $60 a year. 60.
6-0.
Yeah.
Difference of 6-0.
And that 600,000 is for 5 employees?
No, that is the total revenue difference. The commissioner asked how much would that 46 cents increase? What would that equate to financially? And it would increase 641,000 approximately.
Commissioner,
That is
not just that's not salaries. I mean, that's not just salaries, Commissioner. It's also the equipment. There's the vac truck. I mean, there's additional vac truck. There's additional tree trimming equipment. So that includes the equipment.
And a truck is $200 and something thousand.
Correct. When we bring in new staff, we have to supply them with equipment, with vehicles, with a lift to be able to have them operate properly. Correct. That's the total.
Thank you, Mr. Scott.
This, Commissioner Joseph.
From my understanding, years ago when we outsourced our trash, was it part of that contract? Was beautification being subsidized from that contract, or were any monies being utilized from that contract to subsidize this particular part that we're actually bringing in-house, or no? Because I remember a discussion a long time ago that the reason why we couldn't renew our waste management contract is because it was losing money. Something was tied to this from, like, the beautification part of it was tied to it. And so that's why when they came up for renewal, it was substantially higher or what have you, right? But I remember that waste management took a portion of that, or they were paying additional monies to supplement that. I don't know if anybody remembers that at all, but yeah. There was a part of that from that contract, and I don't know, and in regards to Coastal, I know it doesn't have that in their contract, from my understanding. But I'm just trying to understand the mechanics of it all, and so people can understand the historical background of why, in regards to outsourcing, the overall problem we have with doing that type of stuff. And now look what we're doing now because the quality of service wasn't good enough, and now we're we're fixing the problem, right? That was caused inadvertently. So I want some historical context to give a background on that, because I don't want anybody to be confused and really understand how we got here.
Thank you. Are you referencing to the acting mayor? Are you referencing the neighborhood enhancement teams? Is that okay? So I believe that's what you. Okay, so those, we all know what those teams are, right? And I haven't seen those vehicles. I think a lot of them are parked at the ops center. The neighborhood enhancement teams that we had, are they still operating, or are they not operating?
Yes, they have been busy beautifying 19th Avenue in preparation for Saturday's event.
Okay, but they're just not using some of those vehicles. I'm assuming some of them are old, or?
Correct, some are old.
Okay, all right. So that wouldn't be changing as a result of this. Those teams will still be out there?
Correct.
So I'd like to hear definitely what Commissioner Joseph is saying as far as the number behind that.
So,
Commissioner Smuckler.
thank you. So, yes, part of the contract with Waste Management was a beautification.
We're subsidizing.
Right. So when we redid the contract with Coastal, we lost those employees.
Yeah, and they had to get moved somewhere.
Yeah, and they got moved. In fact, some of them got moved to the water. Well, they got moved to like the water plant.
They got moved to the water plant.
Yeah.
And they were supposed to, and would these employees be able to go? Oh, I'm sorry. Now, those employees that were moved, right? Would they be the same ones you'll be reaching out to come back into this program, or not?
Commissioner, I would say that they certainly are welcome to come back, because I know that some of them are experienced in this area and would like to come back. and we certainly are willing to take that experience back if they're available. Some have resettled in water and are obviously may not want to come back, but we are aware of a few that would like to come back to the beautification team.
You lie.
We would extend that.
Commissioner Smuckler had the floor.
Oh,
I'm through, thank you.
Through?
I'll wait for Commissioner Flournoy.
through the acting mayor. So my question right before this statement was, do we still have the neighborhood enhancement teams? But now after Commissioner Smuckler just spoke, those employees were moved to water.
Not all of them,
How
Commissioner.
many of them were moved?
I think we're talking about the beautification team, correct?
Beautification.
That's all you have left. You had 6. I mentioned you have about 5 or 6 left in beautification.
How much were there before?
That was 3 crews, and I don't have the.
And all of it was subsidized, or a portion of it, I'm sorry.
I don't know that part. I don't know that part.
No, it's a long history, but can we get like an in-depth look at that?
Sure. And
I'm supportive of it. Let me be very clear. I'm very supportive of it. I just want a history so people can understand of how we got here, and so we won't make the same mistake, moving forward.
I think, yeah.
Well, codify. That's all I'm saying. Like, I'm not a big person of outsourcing. I never have been.
You can support.
I know a lot of people on this commission are not big people of outsourcing, so I just want to make that very clear. I'm not picking on it, but I just want to make sure that our residents and our other stakeholders who have gotten aggravated by the quality of service going down and additional costs going up, that they understand that we have, at least from the commission standpoint and the governing body, have learned our lessons from the past. That's all.
Commissioner, what
You have no one to blame also if we bring it back.
Commissioner, what we'll do is we'll supplement the meeting minutes with a memo that explains some of that history, and we'll make sure that that's available to you all as well.
Thank you.
The reason that's even more important is because
If we move some of them to water, the issues with beautification didn't start when we moved them to water. That's not when we started to see the decline. We saw the decline even before that, right? So if we're saying that we're replacing the ones that we moved from water with this ordinance, are we just getting back to where we were and seeing the same results that we've seen over the past couple of years? Or are we actually seeing an overall increase in staffing that's able to meet the actual KPIs that we're setting for ourselves now? You understand what we're saying? Because if we're just going back to the numbers that we were, now we want to see, well, with those same numbers, how are you going to cover more territory? Because we've had this issue before, that shift that we're referencing when some moved to water. We had that issue way before then.
Yes, sir.
And keep in mind, we're going to have the same discussion. We're going to have the same discussion when we bring up the recycling and insourcing trash.
That's correct.
We're increasing the revenue. It's going to cost a little bit more for our residents, but like I said, we're trying to get to that quality of care that people are so comfortable with, and really, highlighted our community as being at a certain level, a certain tier that they expected. And when we went against that mantra, you started seeing people getting more upset, frustrated. We're here for the residents, like we're all here on the commission. But like I said, we're gonna have a very serious discussion in regards to insourcing our trash, as well as bringing back recycling, depending on what this commission decides at a later meeting. But I'm looking forward to that discussion.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, did we already have public hearing?
There's no
Can we
motion.
open the public hearing to any questions right now?
Acting Mayor, there was a motion to approve this item.
We got to have the discussion first. Public hearing.
Okay, so we're all on the same page.
This is second and
Second
final reading.
We're required to have a public hearing before a vote on the ordinance.
Yeah.
It's not a.
It's a resolution.
Anybody?
It's a resolution.
I'm sorry.
It's an ordinance.
No, this is an ordinance.
Oh, okay, that's what he was saying. So motion to, or what do we do?
Okay, close public hearing. Is there a motion to approve from the commission?
To approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Commissioner Smuckler, Commissioner Joseph, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Smuckler,
Yes.
Commissioner Flournoy,
Yes.
Commissioner Jean,
No.
Commissioner Joseph,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Acting Mayor Chernoff.
Yes, passes 5-1. Okay, where are we now? Ordinance number, we did 13, right?
We're 11.5.
Thank you. 11.5, resolution number R 2023-106, solid waste CPI increase. Public Works Director.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Commissioners.
All right, he has to read it first.
Motion to
Motion to adopt, to introduce, I'm sorry. Second, was there a second?
Second.
Mr. Florimont, Commissioner Florimont, second.
Resolution number R 2023-106, entitled "A Resolution of the Mayor and City Commission of the City of North Miami Beach, Florida, approving amendment number 2 to the agreement between the City and Coastal Waste and Recycling of Florida, Inc., to change the annual CPI increase from June 1st to October 1st for solid waste and recycling services, authorizing the city manager designee to do all things necessary to effectuate this resolution, providing for conflicts, providing for scrivener's errors, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date."
Now, Mr. Public Works Director.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Commissioner. Good evening, Mayors. The item in front of you is Resolution 11.5. The contract with Coastal Waste and Recycling of Florida Incorporated has a section 3.20 of the agreement. And section 3.20 of the agreement with Coastal states that an annual CPI adjustment shall be effective June 1st, 2023, and each subsequent year thereafter. In consideration of the annual CPI adjustment and the annual Miami-Dade County disposal fee adjustment effective at the start of each fiscal year, Coastal has agreed to change the date of the annual CPI adjustments from June 1st of every year to October 1st of every year to coincide with Miami-Dade County annual disposal increase. Accordingly, this adjustment will be effective in October of this year, if approved. The attached addendum number 2 outlines this change of the agreement. The city will communicate the anticipated rate changes to residents prior to the effective date of October 1st, 2023, which we have, via the city's website, bill mailers, and other marketing initiatives, and will cooperatively work with Coastal to ensure all calculated increases are in accordance with the agreement, addendum number 2, and all subsequent amendments. The new rates are set forth in Table 1.1, which you have in front of you, and I'm sharing. Apologize for the smaller text on the screen. We identified the residential single-family units rates, the multifamily non-compacted and the multifamily compacted rates, the commercial non-compacted and commercial compacted rates, and the commercial car changes once a week and the commercial car changes twice a week. Approximately less than 1% is the CPI increase. This is as per contract. The other attachment is included. Do you have any questions? Thank you.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Joseph, approved by Commissioner Smuckler, seconded by Commissioner Smuckler. Okay, discussion? Commission, this is a resolution. I'll open it to the public. Make John happy. No. Anybody from the public? Mr. Kazan.
Good evening again, everyone. Mubarak Kazan. I want to make it clear that our sanitation bill comes with a water bill. I attended every PUC meeting this year, and I got to understand we did not collect $2.4 million from North Miami Beach residents in the water bill. Therefore, we did not collect the sanitation either. Yet, we paying the sanitation vendor full money, like if we were collecting all the monies. How are we going to recoup that? This vendor should not be getting any increase in CIP or CPI or whatever you call it, because he had gotten full pay when, I think if you look at a budget, you'd see we had a reduction of over 3,000 people that was living in the city moved out. Okay? And we can still collect that money. Collections. So he got full pay whilst the city got short paid. And we need to come with a compromise that should not be happening. And that is why these rates are increasing. We need to tighten up on our collections. I remembered my water. They made some mistake, but they came during COVID to cut off my water, even though I paid the bill. Luckily, somebody was at home to deter that. So that is a problem we have with that bill, and I hope that you guys just don't pass through one ear, go through the other one, and the sanitation guy is like our new friend, and we're gonna give a break and so forth, because 20 years I know how things operate up here. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public who would like to discuss this resolution? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Mayor and Commission, your pleasure. Anybody? All those in favor? Aye. Passes.
No,
Against.
I'm against.
Okay, you didn't say.
You didn't ask.
I said all those, I'm sorry, and against. Yeah, I didn't say. All right, so 2 against, 4.
4 FO.
Passes 4 to 2.
4.
Okay, resolution 11.6. Resolution number R 2023-108, approving CIP and CIP reappropriations. City Manager Mario Diaz, after John sees it. Introduction from the council?
Motion to introduce.
Second? Somebody second? Hello, anybody? I'll second for purpose. Okay, John.
Thank you. This is resolution number R 2023-108, entitled Resolution of the Mayor and City Commission of the City of North Miami Beach, Florida, approving, authorizing, and reappropriating capital outlay items contained in the capital improvement program authorized as part of the fiscal year 2023-2024 final budget for the specific purpose identified in the CIP, providing for conflicts, providing for scrivener's error, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. Before you open up the discussion, just want to point out that staff has distributed a updated version of the resolution. The changes are very simple. In the last whereas clause, there was an addition of "and for future budgets adopted annually" at the end of that fourth whereas clause, and the same language has been added into the end of section 2, which is consistent with the discussion of the City Commission that this is what the policy moving forward, assuming this resolution is adopted.
Thank you. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Acting Mayor and Commissioners. As a quick recap to our last discussion, the policy within North Miami Beach is that if there is no purchase order tied to any funding item within the budget, that money gets reallocated into a carryover line item within revenues. What this resolution does is, for any CIP project that the commission votes to fund, that allocation of funds is restricted to those projects and cannot be moved whether it has a PO or not. This further restricts staff's ability to do line item transfers and dedicates the money as the commission has intended it for the projects that they intend. At the last commission meeting, you all had asked to see where the CIP for fiscal year 23 is, as well as fiscal year '24. That was emailed to each of you and is also part of your backup. We also provided a printout on an 11 by 17 paper to make it a little bit easier to read. And we separated that with regards to what was budgeted, what has been encumbered or expended, and what funds from fiscal year '23 are still available that with the resolution, those funds, should you all approve, would stay within those projects, or if you reallocate something somewhere else, then regardless, the funds within the CIP would stay within the projects as dedicated by the commission. The only way that funds could change or move out of this budget once you've approved is by a new vote by the commission. So you all have the flexibility and will continue to be able to manage that as the commission wishes. What it does is it further restricts staff ability to move funds without any POs or anything like that out of the CIP.
Okay, is there a motion to approve from the commission?
So moved.
Second? Anybody? Chair seconds.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you seconded. I would have seconded. Okay,
You're going to second it?
I'll second it.
Okay. This, public hearing. Anybody? Bark? Doesn't sound like it.
Okay, doesn't. Now it's on. Thank you for having me again. I just want to reiterate, and for the people in Washington Park to know, that from 2018, the first time you voted for Washington Park funds, the Washington Park project, was $250,000. The years following after, $20 million you voted. So it's like we completely voted for the Washington Park money that should have started. I heard last year, October, we would have been putting shovel in the ground. Nothing happened. You took that money, well, not the newcomers, and it was squandered. Stolen? I do not know, but a COI, Commission of Inquiry, should tell us where that money went to actually. Because anything over, and not the city manager I can blame, or the new city managers, but anything over $50,000 supposed to come before the mayor and council or mayor and commissioners to get an approval. I did not hear anything came before mayor and commissioners to get approval. How that $20 million that we give to Washington Park was squandered. We are only guessing that this money rolled over and no, it didn't have a PO and all of these things. That's just guesswork. I can stand up here and guess how to go to the moon. That doesn't mean that I will go to the moon. You guys have to tighten up your belts more than just giving us empty promises during your election period as candidates. And then when you come here, you're not doing your duties. Thank you very much for your vote, Commissioner Smith and Commissioner Daniela Shaw, for standing up. And just now, before, yes. So Washington Park got their monies, but nothing was done. And Commissioner Smith was off here for the last 3 years, so you can't blame her either. Washington Park got their money, and because it was squandered in other things, that is why we're having this resolution here now. Thank you very much. Yeah, you can tell her if the time is up or what. Your time is going to be up just now, too. Thank you.
No, that's not what he said, Mr. Kazan.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public? Public hearing closed. Commissioner Joseph.
No, Mr. Kazan, this was not about, when I was motioning to the clerk, it wasn't about that. I just have a place to go. I have to run. But what I will say is I think we should table this item for another meeting to discuss it, because I think it's pretty expensive. I want to be have a discussion on it, but I think right now, because I know we tabled it last time, I didn't know I'll be coming up coming up at our next meeting, but I just ask that we do table it to have a more in-depth conversation between next month. That's my thought process.
Through the acting mayor, and I definitely understand what Commissioner Joseph is saying. When we have a meeting and we table an item, or we bifurcate an item, or whatever the term is, that's for the following regularly scheduled meeting, which would be in November.
Yeah, that's what I thought it would be.
So that's kind of what happened with the item I know that the clerk had brought up. With all due respect, clerk, it was for the next meeting in November. And so is this item as well. So I can understand.
Second his table?
I second it.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Discussion? Yes?
Discussion. Mr. Manager, do you feel like, I guess the question would be, the bigger issue is Washington Park, that a lot of people have made sentiments that since there aren't enough funds to really keep the project going, how can we have that conversation to actually discuss the potential of transferring more funds into that project?
Commissioner, what is funded in the CIP continues to move the project forward as we've related to the community back in the summer. So the project is not being stalled or pushed back at all. We are continuing to move forward. We're finalizing design, which will then allow us to go for permitting and begin the procurement process for construction. I believe construction shovels in the ground is scheduled for later in 2024. Jamar is here and he can give us more of a detailed with the park opening should weather delays or anything in 2026, it would be completed. So we're not delaying this project at all from anything that we've communicated to the community in the past.
Can I add something to what you're saying?
Yes.
So the update about that particular project, if it can be provided to us on a monthly basis, not tonight, but on a monthly basis.
Yes, ma'am.
No, but more so than anything, I know you mentioned in the past that if the full amount is not allocated for, it can't go into construction. So are we really moving as aggressively as we can because the funds are not technically all there? Like, what's the explanation there?
So that is where in the past, excuse me, in the past, the way that the projects were, they would not really move forward without the complete amount. So in this instance, right now, what it would be is for construction wouldn't move forward unless you had the full amount for construction. However, what we're able to do is we're able to put the project together in a way in which there are certain segments within that that we can immediately start the funding. We can start the funding of the demolition. We can start the funding of the clearing of the areas. We can start the funding of various other areas. And as we continue to move from year over year, we make sure that that is dedicated and the entire project continues to move forward, as opposed to, well, we're going to wait 2-3 years until we have the $15 million or the $17 million, whatever that comes in. So we're able to manage that in a way that we continue to move all of these projects forward in a responsible manner. But what this resolution simply does is to make sure that if in 2024 or 2023 you've allocated money to a project, then in 2026 that money is still there. That's all this resolution does. But if the commission would like to table it so that we can have this conversation in November, that's more than welcome.
I think it's fair, and I'm not trying to cut off. Oh, sorry.
Daniela, are you done?
Right. In essence, I just feel like I'm not clear on that, because I think that project is really the crux of our, or at least my reluctance to kind of approve it, because I want to have a clearer picture of how we can get closer to the finish line, not year after year after year after year, but sooner than later is basically what I'm saying. So if the project was supposed to be completed in 26 and we don't have the funds in 24, we don't know what's going to happen next year and the year after. So that further delays the potential of the project actually coming online, in my mind. So because I'm not clear on that, I don't want to lock in the funds and not have a more detailed discussion on Washington Park and how we can ensure that if we have to move funds around, that the commission can make that decision.
And you can always do that at any point.
Right, but I want to make
understand
sure,
your-
right, you see what I'm saying? Okay.
On the table? On the table?
No, I wanted.
Yeah, there's a motion on the floor to
Yeah, no,
table and a
it's
second to table.
I just wanted to say something, but it has nothing to, it has to do with this.
Yeah, they're gonna
You're gonna bring it
bring it back.
Okay, I'll say it next time.
Okay. Can we?
So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Carries.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, so it's tabled.
It's the last one, right?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can I just clarify something about where we're ending?
Yeah.
Okay, so we had agreed that the last thing we would hear is 15.1.
Yep.
But I'm going down further and I see that there's 17.1 request for outside counsel. Is that something you could hold off another month or?
We have received an inquiry from the outside attorney asking about that, and I would request for you all to take a quick vote on that. And there is one additional item under city attorneys which is related to that matter. And I would like to request another shade meeting, so you all have an opportunity to meet with our outside counsel and to get a briefing on an update on where we stand in the litigation between the city and Miami Gardens.
Oh, we don't?
On what?
There's a letter.
On what she's saying with the attorney.
There's a letter in the backup material.
Yeah, but for Mr. Commissioner,
15.1. So
right, so we have to do 15.1 and I wanted to know if he needed 17.1 today.
Well, as I understand it, Commissioner Joseph needs to leave.
yes, that's
I
So
could sum up.
17, if we need to do 17.1,
There's my items will take no more than 5 minutes.
Yeah, same. It's acting mayor and commissioner with regards to the business tax receipt. Essentially, we know that over since COVID, the BTR department has not met certain standards. In that time frame, various businesses did not renew their BTRs. They are starting to do that renewal. Per our policy, if there's a late fee associated, but more often than not, a lot of times the city never sent out the invoices or anything. So staff is simply requesting allow us to waive any late fees for that. Our analysis shows it's under $1,000 for all the businesses that would have received it. I think it's very simple, but I can't just waive it without your authority.
Make a motion to waive those fees.
second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Now
Now,
the attorney.
17.1, Mr. Attorney.
Yes.
This is it.
So we have received correspondence from outside counsel representing the city and the Miami Gardens litigation regarding the surcharge. They've advised us that they're seeking an increase in their hourly rate. So we're putting it before you all for your consent to go ahead and inform them that that's acceptable, and as set forth in their request letter that's attached or part of the packet.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Commissioner Smith?
But the insurance is going to pay some of this, am I correct?
There
Do we
will
know
be
how
a
much?
part of it will be paid by our insurance, but I can inform you that because of the length of this litigation, we're getting close to tapping out on what the insurance will be paying. So there's a number of different reasons that we can discuss at length in the shade meeting they're going to be asking for at the next item to explain all these different issues and how they interact with each other.
So I have a question for you, sir.
Yes.
They went from $395 to $495. We were not involved in the conversation. It doesn't seem that we could go to a new attorney because they've been following the case, they have the files, and it would be prohibitive and not prudent to go to a new attorney. But would they negotiate to half? I mean, until we go further in?
No, they've made it abundantly clear that that's the rate that they're seeking, and they have already discounted the rate, and they've held that rate at $395 for 4 or 5 years, if not longer, and they're seeking an increase of $100 per hour billed. And again, they've made it very clear to myself and to the manager that that's what they're asking for, and it's essentially non-negotiable.
That's what I'm saying.
We can change if you wish. I would not recommend.
You can't change. That would not be prudent. It's an option to do, but it wouldn't be prudent. My thing is then, if that's the case, then this might be one of the last cases we would give to this, and if that's going to be the case, if we can find,
Understood.
I don't know what the fee should be. I don't know if $495 is too low for what they're doing. I don't know what's in our budget for this increase. Or one thing about hiring litigation is you don't know how many hours you're going to be paying. It's an unknown. So I just
And I understand.
I mean, it has to be a yes vote. I'm not arguing the vote. I'm arguing and discussing, not arguing, I'm discussing that because it's a $100 an hour jump, that, we should be open to what other options we could have.
And that is the reason why I'll be asking for a shade meeting at the next item.
Okay, well, let's handle this one. Anybody else want to comment? There's a motion to approve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes.
Motion to adjourn?
Introduce the Shay.
Oh, introduce the shade, yes.
I just, in accordance with.
Second, is there a second?
Second.
You introduced it.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes, you're right.
Second.
Smuggler.
In accordance with Section 286.011 Florida statutes, I'm hereby requesting authorization from the City Commission to schedule and conduct a shade meeting in the case known as City of Miami Gardens versus City of North Miami Beach, case number 2018-42450CA01, pending in Circuit Court of the 11th Judicial Circuit in Fort Miami-Dade County. We'll coordinate with city staff, the clerk, and each one of you individually to find a mutually convenient time with our outside counsel, set that meeting, and hopefully in the next month, if not earlier, have that meeting. We do need to discuss where we stand in the case.
And that will also be where Commissioner Florimon will inform us on.
Well, that'll be part of the conversation of whether there was or there wasn't a mediation. And
Okay, yeah, let's not talk about it right now.
And we'll just leave it at that.
That's why I didn't.
We are making progress. We are making
All right, so there's a motion to approve the Shay meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Fortuna Smuggler seconded. Did you want to discuss
I want to say no.
on the Shay meeting?
No, we
Okay,
voted.
we're done.
Motion.
Okay,
Make a question. I want to make a statement.
go ahead.
Okay, through the chair, I just want to thank David Zaplin. He's here. I want to thank him. He saved the city a lot of money by a potential runoff, and that's what a real somebody cares about the city does, and I want to publicly thank him for saving the city for that.
And on a final note, I want to discuss with my commissioners that this hour, 7 o'clock, can happen in a regular council meeting if we have 2 meetings a month and separate the resolutions and the other things that are easy to do on one night and do the business on another night with the ordinances and the zoning. That would be great, but it doesn't mean that both days go to 12 o'clock or even one day goes to 12 o'clock. They both should end by 8, 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. It would just, from being there for 19 years, we had 2 days a month forever. And a lot of our meetings ended at 8:30 every time, by 8:30. Some of them, if there was a heavy zoning thing, it went till 10:30, 12:30. But the reason that the 12 o'clock midnight thing was I'm the one who introduced that ordinance because I didn't want to stay after 12. I thought that wasn't fair to the businesses and the people that were zoning. It's not fair. So I did that back then when we did it one night. But we never did it like we do here, which is ever since I've been on here the whole year so far. So just I wanted to put it out there. It's not, again, just to make you do another night. It helps them decipher the business that it's put up on 2 different nights. We don't have as much on the agenda. We get out early. With that, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Happy Halloween, everybody. Have a nice evening.
You have to announce at the next commission.
Oh, I'm sorry, the next regular council commission meeting is November 14th, 2023. Thank you.